Hello and welcome. In today's video, we will be looking at how we can generate a Power BI template directly from the Vcad file manager. With this feature, you will be able to quickly create ready-to-use templates starting from your imported files. For starters, let's go to the Vcad file manager. You can see right here, I am using in this case Vcad for ACC, but the procedure is the same if you're using the Vcad standalone version. Now you'll see here I have a series of files, and some of them are marked as imported while others are marked as not imported. If I want to create a template based on a file which is not imported, the first step would be to come over here, select the file, and begin the import process. We won't get into that right now, but it's a very quick process to follow. Right now, we're going to instead select a file which has already been imported. You can see in this case, we're using an IFC file. And in particular, we're using a file that has been imported using the unified conversion type. The procedure to create a template will be the same regardless of the type of file or the type of conversion, but in this case, this is what we're going to be using, as the unified format is the latest and greatest in Vcad data sets. I can go ahead and proceed with the template download both from the contextual menu over here, which you'll see, or if I select the file, over here on the right, I have the info panel. I usually prefer to go with this one, but the process is exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and click on templates, and this will present me the configuration setup to download my template. We're going to be going with a Power BI template for this case. If I were using a Revit file, I could also select a specific view or phase. In this case, we're running with a template for an IFC file, so this setup here is unconsequential. And then below you'll see we can choose which template we want to be downloading. So you'll have several different tabs over here. They may vary slightly depending on your specific case, but what you'll always have is a main tab which has the latest and more up-to-date version of our templates. So you can see here in my main tab I have a main unified template. We're particularly on version 2, and here is the button to actually download the template. Now, real quickly, just to give you an idea, I could switch to the Collab tab, and here I have a BCF template that is available for IFC files. If you're using a different file tab, the type of templates that are available will change. And also, if you have set up any custom templates, then you'll also have a custom tab where you can go ahead and review those as well. For today's example, we'll be going with the main tab as it is the most appropriate template to start out with for most use cases. So last things to show you is down here on the bottom right, I have the indication of the slot ID. If ever in the future when setting up my report, I need to reference back the slot ID of a specific file, I can always open the templates window and just copy it from here. Also, I have the API key. This is a security key that will be requested from the template. So I can go ahead and copy that as well. And we're going to use it in just a minute. And then I can go ahead and proceed with the template download. So in the time that you just saw it took to do the download, Vcad basically took our pre-made template and injected it with the correct information for this specific file that I have chosen. So now in my downloads folder, I can go ahead and open up the new .pbit file that has been downloaded. Double click on it and open it up. And you will see the first time I open up a template, I might be prompted to put in that security key that we just copied. So the report opens up, the data refresh starts, and then we need to give it the web API key. So you want to come over here to web API and paste in that security key we just copied. Then connect. And this will provide the report with the required information to then be able to connect to the Vcad APIs and download the data sets that are the basis for the entire report. Basically, these data sets that you're seeing over here. Now, today we won't go too much into detail into the actual data sets. We have videos on that. In fact, we will link some of them below in the description if you're interested to get some more information on that. For now, let's have a look at the overlay of the report itself and how it's set up. So we use the main template, and the focus and the objective of this template is to showcase how Vcad can be set up, configured, and connected to data. So when you first start out, you'll get a summary page where we can get a bit of an overview of the data that has been extracted from the model itself. So you can see here I have one file type. So this is a simple IFC file. If it were a Navisworks model, for example, here it could have multiple files. Again, file name count, it's an IFC, a single file, like we see down here. And then I have the asset count and the property count. So it looks like I have about 2,200 objects in this model and 63,000 properties. Below, I can see a distribution of the properties by object type. So it looks like the object types with the most properties is the IFC beams in this case. And then I have the actual count of the properties and assets divided by files. Again, in a Navisworks model, this would be slightly more complete. Keep in mind that this template that we've downloaded, seen as we're using the unified data set, will be exactly the same for both IFCs, Navisworks, Revits, and DWG files. So by learning how to work with one of these file types, you'll automatically know how to work with the other ones. Now let's move along to the next report tab. So here we have the model information. Here I have a breakdown of the data and the object types by files. So again, in the case if we were using a Navisworks model, here I would have multiple files to pick and choose from. But already we can see we have the viewer set up, rendering my model directly inside my report. And of course, it is connected to the other visuals. So if I come over here and, for example, start selecting some object types, we can see those being selected inside the model as well. So we have a first example of very simple interaction between a visual and the model. And if you want to see how all of that is set up, we can just come over here and explore the configuration options for the viewer. We won't go into the nitty-gritty of all the configuration right now. The objective today is to just review the template. Let's move along to asset details. And here, it's interesting, we are getting a little more information from the data itself. So we're drilling down into the properties of every specific object. So again, here we have the interaction setup between, of course, the asset list and the objects in the model. So I can select here, and I'll have this object highlighted in the model as well. I can choose if I want to go to X-ray mode or hide directly everything except for the object. Interestingly, I can also activate the selection from the model and go the other route. So start in the model, maybe select an object, and we can see the asset list is filtered and the property list is filtered, showing me the specific attributes of this one object that I have selected. I can easily switch between them and get the new data being loaded in the property list. Let's move along to the asset markers. So here instead we are showing you how you can configure the viewer in order to show icons inside the model. So when it first loads up, it can look a little crazy because we are applying an icon for each and every object in the model. If I start making some selections, so for example, if I selected a subset of objects, In this case, we're doing it based on the object type, but this selection can be done based on any sort of classification that makes sense for your report. We can see now it makes a lot more sense. I can actually review the information, and we can see how the icons that are being loaded inside the model are all data driven. If I add to my selection, I can see them showing up, and we can see that we have conditional coloring set up based on the themes that we've defined and used also in this other visual. So another good example to look into if you are trying to represent any sort of data and want to use the model to place that data in a space. Let's move forward to the asset colors, and here we can see the most used feature in Vcad by far by all of our clients. This is the possibility of applying conditional colors to objects based again on any sort of classification you want. Now, when it first loads up in the Vcad template, of course, we don't know which data will be in the model, and we don't know what your end goal when creating the report is. So all we can do is set up the report to use data that we know will be there. So for example, we know there will always be a file type, a source file, and an object type. And so what we've done, if we look over here to the right, is we've set up some data sets, file name color, file type color, and object type color. Basically, these are data sets that allow us to apply these colors, as I'm saying. So right now you'll see up here I have a color selector, and we're looking at the file name color. You can see file name here is blue. If I switch to the file type color, this first classification, I won't see much of a change because again we're applying the blue color. But if I go over to the object type, now this will apply a different color to all the objects based on their specific object types. And it's easy to recognize that similar objects have the same color because of course they have the actual same object type. Now imagine that this can be done with any sort of classification showing status, advancements, cost, completion, anything that you want, all simply through a data-driven approach where you are binding the colors to the model itself, like we see down here. And this is exactly what this template is for. It's here to show you how you can make those connections and how you can set up the model. Last example, here we have the asset tree report page. So in this case, we're showing a breakdown of how the geometries are actually stored inside the model and what the relationships between everything is. So for example, here I can choose to select the entire model like we're doing right now, or I could go ahead and drill down and maybe choose a subset of objects. Let's go ahead and pop up that X-ray mode and review the items, and I can drill down to a specific set of items. So just giving you another way of interacting with the model itself, similar to what we've been doing in the past, but with different visuals outside. Because of course, the Vcad custom visual is fully integrated in the Power BI way of doing things. So anything you would do normally in Power BI, any visuals you would use, you can still use in this case. Final example, we have the for Nerds section. This is simply an easy place where you can review some of the more technical aspects of the reports. For example, you'll see the API endpoints that are being used for the viewer, the slot ID, which is being used to reference my model, and things like the SVF2 version. This is more on the technical side, and you can find more information on all of this all of these configurations on our blog and in our documentation. Okay, so now we've seen a bit the complete overlay of the report and some of the things that are available to explore and to experiment with, and more importantly to learn to create your actual reports that you want to be using. As mentioned, in this case we went ahead and started from the Vcad for ACC version, but the same is true for the standalone version, even more as we will be releasing an update soon to bring more parity between the two versions, especially in the look and feel of the applications. So definitely do stay tuned for updates on that and more videos coming in the future. But with this, the tutorial is completed. We've gone through an overview of generating a Power BI template from the Vcad file manager. I want to thank you for watching and definitely stay tuned for upcoming videos to the channel.